everybody, my name's Anne.
The nutcracer.
The nutcracer.
Chapter 1. Christmas Eve. A soft, fluffy layer of snow covered Clara's house on Christmas Eve. Inside, a party was in full swing, but one very special guest hadn't arrived. Clara watched for him at the window. Suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door. "He's here!" she cried, dancing over and flinging open the door.
A soft, fluffy layer of snow covered Kara's house on Christmas Eve. Inside, a party is in full swing, but one very special guest hadn't arrived. Kara watched for him at the window. Suddenly, there was a loud knock on the door. "He's here!" she cried, dancing over the flying open the door.
It was Clara's godfather. She gave him a big hug. "What a warm welcome on such a chilly night," he said with a chuckle. "Merry Christmas!" Clara loved her godfather's visit. Something magical always happened when he was around. "I have a very special present for you this year," he told Clara as he placed a package under the tree.
It was Kara's godfather. She gave him a big hug. "What a warm welcome on such a chilly night," he said with a chuckle. "Merry Christmas!" Kara loved her godfather's visit. Something magical always happened when he was around. "I have a very special present for you this year," he told Kara as he placed a pancake under the trees.
Chapter 2. The Mystery Present. That night, Clara couldn't sleep. She lay in bed thinking about her present. "It can't hurt if I just have a little pig," she thought. Finally, Clara tiptoed downstairs. She soon found the present tied up with a big red bow. On the ribbon there was a tag with a message. "Merry Christmas, Clara. I hope this protects you. With love from your godfather X." "I wondered what godfather means," thought Clara.
And that night, Kara couldn't sleep. She lay in bed thinking about her present. "It can't hurt if I just have a little pig," she thought. Finally, Kara tiptoed downstairs. She soon found the present tied up with a big red bow. On the ribbons, there were the tags with a message. "Merry Christmas, Kara. I hope this protects you. We learn from you." godfather asked. I wonder what godfather meant, thought Clara.
Slowly, Clara untied the bow and folded back a corner of the paper. Inside, she found a wooden nutcracker doll dressed like a soldier. Just then, the clock struck midnight. Clara gave an enormous yarn. In a few minutes, she was fast asleep under the tree.
Slowly, Clara untied the ball and folded back a corner of the paper. Inside, she found a wooden nutcracker doll, present like a soldier. The jam, the clock struck midnight. Clara gave an enormous yawn. In a few minutes, she was fast asleep under the trees.
Chapter 3. The Magic Begins. Clara woke up with a start, feeling very confused. She couldn't remember where she was, and her doll had vanished. She looked around and saw she was under the Christmas tree, and it seemed to be growing. What's happening? But the tree wasn't growing. She was shrinking. Soon she was as small as a mouse.
Clara woke up with a start, feeling very confused. She couldn't remember where she was, and her doll had vanished. She looked around and saw she was under the Christmas trees, and it seemed to be growing. What's happening? But the tree wasn't growing. She was turkey. Soon, she was as small as a mouse.
Out of the corner of her eye, Clara thought she saw something leaping around. Frightened, she darted behind a present and heard the three rustle behind her. Clara spun around. "Don't be afraid, Clara. I won't hurt you," said a friendly voice. Clara was astonished. "But you look like..." Her doll had come to life. "I am the Nutcracker Prince," he said with a bow, "and I'm here to protect you. The kitchen mice are plotting to kidnap you." The prince put out a whistle and gave a shrill blow.
Out of the corner of her eyes, Clara thought she saw something leaping around. Frightened, she ducked behind the present and heard the tree rust behind her. Clara spun around. "Don't be afraid, Clara. I won't hurt you," said a friendly voice. Clara was astonished. "But you look like..." Her doll has come to life. "I'm the Nutcracker Prince," he said with a bow, "and I'm here to protect you. The kitchen mice were going to kidnap you." The prince pulled out of and gave a third blow.
At once, the lid of the toy box flew open, and a long line of toy soldiers marched out. Standing in rows, they saluted the prince. "Attention!" he cried. "Clara needs our help. Prepare yourselves for battle, men. Wheel out the cannons." Mice began to appear in the shadows. Slowly, they crept closer. Clara hid behind the prince. "Steady, men! Steady!" he shouted. "Wait for the signal. And fire!"
The prince pulled out a whistle and gave a tug. At once, the lid of the toy box flew open, and a long line of toy soldiers marched out. Standing in rows, they saluted the prince. "Attention!" he cried. "Clara needs our help. Prepare yourself for battle, man." Mice began to appear in the shadow. Slowly, they crept closer. Clara hid behind the prince. "Steadily, man, steadily!" he shouted. "Wait for the signal. And fight!"
Huge lumps of cheese flew from the cannons and struck down several mice. Some lumps landed in the corners, and the other mice scampered after them. "Excellent work, man!" roared the prince, as the last mouse vanished. But the fight wasn't over yet. "Bravo!" said an evil voice from the shadows. A mouse wearing a crown and an eye patch appeared. "That's the Mouse King," the prince whispered to Clara. "Is cheese the best you can do?" jeered the king. "It will take more than that to beat me. Now, hand over the girl."
Huge lumps of cheese flew on the cannons and struck down the birds' necks. Some lumps landed in the corner, and all the mice scrambled after them. Excellent work, man!" roared the prince, as the last mouse vanished. But the fight wasn't over yet. "Bravo!" said an evil voice from the shadow. A mouse wearing a crown and an eye patch appeared. "That's the Mouse King's," the prince whispered to Clara. "It is the best you can do?" jeered the king. "I'll take more than that to beat me. Now hand over the girl."
"I'd rather die," said the prince. "That can be arranged," the Mouse King sneered. Soon, the prince and the Mouse King were locked in battle. Their swords clanged as they danced around the room. "I'll make cream cheese out of you. Take it, you rascally rodent." Then disaster struck. The prince tripped on a lump of cheese and sprawled on the floor. Seizing his chance, the Mouse King put his sword to the prince's neck. Well, 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 I'm going to enjoy this, he said laughingly.
I'd rather die, said the prince. That can be arranged. The Mouse King sneered. Soon the prince and the Mouse King were locked in the barrel. They shot, clang, and they danced around the rooms. I mixed cream cheese out of you. Take that, you carry rodent. Then the set shut. The prince gripped on a lump of cheese and strode on the floor. See his chance. The Mouse King put his sword to the prince's neck. Well, 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 I'm going to enjoy this, he said, laughingly.
As the Mouse King put back his sword, Clara whipped off her shoe and threw it as hard as she could at his head. He fell in a heap on the floor, knocked out cold. Chapter.
As the Mouse King pulled back his sword, Clara whipped off her shoe and threw it as hard as she could at his head. He fell in the heap on the floor, knocked out cold.
The 4. Sleigh bells ringing. Clara rushed over the prince. "Are you all right?" she cried. "Yes, thanks to you," he said. "We must celebrate," he added as Clara helped him up. "I know just the place." The prince led Clara to a golden sleigh behind the Christmas tree and helped her aboard. "Off we go, boys!" the prince called to his 4 reindeer. As they gathered speed, the sleigh started to rise up into the air. They rolled out through an open window and into the night.
Clara rose over to the prince. "Are you all right?" she cried. "Yes, thanks to you," he said. "We must celebrate," he added as Clara helped him up. "I know just the place." The prince led Clara to a golden slide behind the Christmas trees and helped her aboard. "Off we go, boys!" the prince called to his 4 reindeer. As they gradually speed, the strings started to rise up into the air. They rode out through an open window and into the night.
After some time, they came to a forest covered with crisp white snow. "We are nearly at our first stop," the prince announced. "Hold on, we are going down." The snow crunched under the reindeer's feet as they landed. Just then, a beautiful lady dressed in sparkling white appeared among the trees. "Clara, I'd like you to meet my friend, the Ice Queen," said the prince. What a lovely surprise!
After some time, they came to a forest covered with white snow. We're nearly at our first stop. The prince announced, "Hold on, we are going down." The snow grows under the reindeer. Their feet at the land. Just then, a beautiful lady dressed in sparkly white appeared among the trees. "Kara, I'd like you to meet my good friend." "I couldn't," said the prince. "What a lovely surprise."
The queen led them into her icy palace, which glistened in the moonlight. Inside, icicle chandeliers hung from every ceiling. "You've arrived in time for the dances," said the queen as they walked into a grand ballroom.
The queen led them to her ice palace, which glistened in the moonlight. Inside, ice chains hung from every ceiling. "You arrived in time for the dance," said the queen, as they walked on into the grand ballrooms.
A piano began to play, and 8 ballerinas dressed in silver and white toured into the middle of the room. They twinkled like snowflakes as they spun around. "I will always remember this," whispered Clara to the prince as the music came to an end. After a game of catch with the palace poodle, it was time to leave.
A piano began to play, and an ballerina dressed in silver and white turned into the middle of the room. They twinkled like snowflakes as they spun around. "I always remember that," whispered Kara to the prince as the music came to an end. After a game of catch with the palace poodle, it was time to leave.
"Do we really have to go?" sighed Clara. "Yes, we really do," said the prince. "There's someone else I want you to meet, and we don't have much time. Goodbye." Chapter 5. The Land of Sweets.
"Do we really have to go?" sighed Kara. "Yes, we really do," said the prince. "There's someone else I want you to meet, and we don't have much time. Goodbye."
Clara gasped when they reached their next stop. The trees were bursting with marshmallows blossoms, and lollipop flowers sprouted from the ground. Then Clara saw that the mountains were topped with melted chocolate, and milkshake rivers flowed down them. "Where are we?" she asked, amazed. The lands of sweets, the prince replied. Before them stood a huge marzipan castle, decorated with all kinds of treats.
Kara gasped when they reached the next stop. The trees were bursting with marshmallow blossom and lollipop flower sprouts from the ground. Then Kara saw that the mountain was stopped with milk chocolate and milkshake. River flower down them. Where are we? She asked, amazed. The land of sweet, the prince replied. Before them stood a huge Persian castle decorated with all kinds of sweets.
Lifting Clara from the sleigh, he sat her down on the palace steps, and a fanfare of trumpets rang out. At the top, the doors opened and a fairy appeared, dressed from head to toe in pink. Clara, this is Sugar Plum Fairy, said the prince. She rules over the lands of sweets. I hope you have a sweet tooth, said the Sugar Plum Fairy with a smile. She led them into a grand hall where the tables were covered with chocolate cakes, cookies, and candy swirls.
Lifting Kara from the side, he set her down on the palace step and fast first a trumpet rang out. At the top, the door opened and a fairy appeared, dressed from head to toes in pink. Kara, this is the Sugar Plum Fairy, said the prince. She ruled over the land of sweet. I hope you have a sweet tooth, said the Sugar Plum Fairy with a smile. She led them into a grand hall where the table were covered with chocolate cake, cookie, and candy tart.
Watch the woody chairs, whispered the prince as Clara sat down. They are made of raspberry mousse. Clara ate until she thought she'd pop. After the feast, a band struck up and dancers from around the world performed for Clara. First came the dance of chocolate, and a Spanish pair spun around to snapping castanets.
What the wood bleachers with the prince at Kara sat down. They are made of strawberry mousse. Kara ate until she thought she popped. After the feast, a band struck up and danced, and dancers from around the world performed for Kara. First, the dance of chocolate, and a Spanish pair spun around to snapping castanet.
Next came the exotic dance of coffee. A beautiful Arabian princess danced with smooth, swirling movements in time to soft, soothing music.
Next game is for sorting dance of coffee. A beautiful Arabian princess dance with smooth twirling movement in time to soft, soothing music.
The third group of dancers had come all the way from China to entertain everyone with their tea dance. Many more dances followed, each one showing something good to eat or drink.
The third group of dancers had come all the way from China to entertain everyone with their tea stand. Many more dancers followed, each one showing something good to eat or drink.
But the final dance was very different. A group of ballerinas, all dressed as flowers, performed a slow waltz for Clara. Their arms unfolded gracefully like the petals of a flower as they waved in and out of each other.
But the finest dances were very different. A group of ballerinas dressed as flowers performed a slow waltz or for caras. Their arms unfolded gracefully like the petal of a flower as they wave in and out of each other.
And now I am afraid it's time for us to go home, said the prince sadly. With a sigh, Clara climbed into the sleigh and waved goodbye to the sugar plum fairy. Thank you for an amazing evening, Nutcracker Prince, said Clara with a yawn. She was so tired that she fell asleep on his shoulder. When
And now I'm afraid it's time to go home, said the prince sadly with a sigh. Kara climbed into the sled and waved goodbye to the sugar plums fairy. Thank you for an amazing evening, Nutcracker Prince, said Kara with a yawn. She was so tired that she fell asleep on his shoulder.
Clara woke up, she was back under the Christmas tree and the prince was gone. Only her door lay beside her. Oh, it was only a dream, she cried, but it seemed so real. Just then, Clara spotted the tag that her godfather had attached to the present. I hope it protects you, it said. I wondered if that means he knew the Nutcracker Prince would rescue me, thought Clara. Maybe it wasn't just a dream.
When Clara woke up, she was back under the Christmas trees, and the prince was gone. Only her doll lay beside her. "Oh, it was only a dream," she cried. "But it seemed too real." Just then, Kara spotted the tax that her godfather had attached to her present. "I hope they protect you," it said. "I wonder if if that means he knew the nutcracer prince would recuse me," thought Kara. "Maybe it wasn't just a dream." Goodbye.